Without proper strategies in place, the protectiveness of someone's pain system can increase over time, meaning that their function decreases and their quality of life is hugely affected. However, by understanding why someone's pain system becomes overprotective, it can help to reduce its overprotectiveness, improving quality of life and function. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Mahin and I'm an advanced practice physiotherapist specialising in pain management based in the UK. On this channel, we explore ways to improve our interactions with those living with pain to help them create healthier and happier lives. Today, I'll let you know about the Twin Peaks model and how an understanding of this can help to reduce pain's overprotectiveness. So I've taken the concept that I'm going to talk about in this video from the book Explain Pain Supercharged by Lorimer Moseley and Dave Butler. This is a great book that's almost become like my pain Bible and my go-to reference for anything pain science related. So if you want to check out this book, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. The Twin Peaks model in the book shows how the buffer between pain and actual tissue damage can actually change over time. Protect by pain is the point at which pain is felt, and tissue tolerance is the point at which injury or tissue damage takes place. Remember, pain does not mean damage, and pain is one of our protective systems that responds to anything the brain decides is threatening. The model here shows how before injury, the buffer between the protect by pain line and the tissue tolerance line is much smaller than the buffer after injury. When talking about injury, this can be because of inflammation that is present or due to peripheral sensitization, which reduces the threshold at which nociceptors are activated. But this increase in buffer between pain and tissue damage can also be applied to chronic pain as well, even after the injury has healed. This can happen through two cycles that I've talked about in previous videos, the pain cycle and the boom-bust cycle. I'll leave links to both of those videos in the description below, so check those out if you haven't already watched these after this video. First, I'll explain how the pain or avoidance cycle influences this pain tissue tolerance buffer. So here you have the pain cycle that I've talked about previously. I'm just going to quickly run through this pain cycle before I move on to the next part of my demonstration. So at the top here we have pain, we have fear of worsening pain, we have avoidance of activity, we have reduction in strength and function, and then we have lowering of mood, and all that goes back into pain. So going through this pain or avoidance cycle can actually lead to an overprotectiveness of our pain system over time. And I'm just going to explain how. So let's just say that this blue wall to my right is tissue tolerance. Okay, so this is what needs to be reached before injury or damage takes place. Okay. In front of tissue tolerance sits pain. Okay, don't forget pain's role is protection. Okay, so pain will always sit in front of tissue damage as a protector. Okay, so whatever happens, we will reach pain before we reach damage. Okay, now when we go through the pain cycle, as you can still see up here, what happens is because we're avoiding activities over time, it allows pain to just creep this way. Okay, just to creep this way a little bit. And that's because we're not using this part, okay? Because we're avoiding activity, we're not testing physical capacity and we're not testing the limits, okay? So actually what it allows it to do is pain just starts to creep forwards, okay? Now what you can see here is actually there's a bigger buffer between pain and damage, okay? Between pain and tissue tolerance. So actually the person might be a little bit safer because there's an increased buffer between when we feel pain and when actual tissue damage takes place. But because now pain's crept forwards, there's only so much that we can do before we start to feel pain. That makes people avoid things further and that pain cycle continues, and this buffer just starts to get bigger. Okay, starts to get bigger, and then actually still we're doing less now. We're able to do less, function decreases because we're feeling pain a lot earlier. So how do we help this? Well, by looking at the reverse of this pain cycle. So we still have pain. We can't always help pain. Pain's very normal. We can't always help the fear of worsening pain. But where we come in is how can we gradually is always the key word with this, reintroduce or re-expose to activities that have been avoided. Okay. By doing that, we will feel some degree of pain because we are just pushing the boundaries a little bit. But over time, ensuring that we're still working with our pain, if we're able to gradually expose to activities that we've avoided, we can actually help for this buffer to settle back a little bit, okay? So the buffer now between pain and tissue tolerance is getting a little bit smaller, okay? We work with that a little bit more and that pain starts to settle back and ease back. And that's just because we're exploring the edges of the pain and helping to work that pain back by not avoiding and by gradually exposing to activities. it may not get all the way back to here, let's say, but we can help to get that pain back a little bit. I'll now explain how the boom-bust cycle influences the pain tissue tolerance buffer. So here you can see the boom-bust cycle that I've been through previously. Now what happens with this is the boom-bust cycle basically represents what happens when we keep pushing through pain, okay? So we might push through pain because we are like, well, you know, I just need to get on with stuff. I've got stuff to do, I need to push on with the pain. Or it might be that someone has a good day and they try to make up for all the bad days by doing lots of stuff, lots of housework, seeing lots of friends and so on. And then we have a slump afterwards because of the increases in pain that happen following this. So activity levels reduce, people recover for a little bit, and then they increase their activity levels again. And we just continue going through this boom-bust cycle. Now, as you can see from the arrow, this is not a sustainable way of managing things over time. So, using the same analogy, the blue wall being tissue tolerance and pain sitting in front of it, what happens in this instance with the boom-bust cycle is that the harder that we push into pain, okay, the harder pain is going to push back. And again, we see pain moving this way. So the buffer between pain and tissue tolerance becomes bigger. And some may argue that actually there is more safety here because we reach pain a lot quicker. That warning goes off, it protects us from going further, so we never reach the tissue tolerance or tissue injury level. But what happens is, by the harder we push into pain, the harder pain pushes back. Okay, so how do we then help with this? Well, it takes a little bit of negotiation with pain, if you like. It takes a little bit of working with your pain. So if we can help work with the pain by using, pacing, planning, and prioritizing that I've spoken about in a previous video, then hopefully what we see is that we're not pushing into pain so much, so pain's not having to push back as hard. And actually by working with the pain, it helps to just settle things back a little bit and to reduce the protectiveness of that pain system. To learn more about how to stop the boom-bust cycle by using strategies such as pacing, planning, and prioritizing, check out this next video here. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you on this video.